Hello, everyone. Welcome to CXO Spice. CXO Spice is a platform for thought leaders to share their point of view on innovation and explain how to make it happen in the real world. Today's topic is vertical innovation, highlighting EY-Nottingham Spirk Innovation Hub. Our special guest today is David Takeuchi, aka DT, principal and partner at EY. Hi, DT. It was wonderful to meet you at Nottingham Spirk Innovation Hub a few weeks ago. So glad to reconnect and host you on CXO Spice today. So tell us about your journey at EY and your transition from being an entrepreneur to a global leader and partner at EY.
Thanks, Helen. It was a great meeting that we had a few weeks ago. And I just wanted to thank you for inviting me to be here, a part of CXO Spice on your podcast, Helen. It's a great honor to be here and talk about this. My journey is kind of interesting in that let's just say I'm not a traditional or classical consultant. I think one might expect to see a consultant at EY, but I started off actually in design and architecture and brand. And, you know, in a sense that I quickly learned that everything that I was designing towards had a business behind it. And my clients, all they considered were, you know, how do we make my business thrive? And so that, you know, I guess it really got me into thinking about, you know, how to really create a new company that sort of incorporates this business outcome as part of design. So 2000 was sort of when this all happened, and that got me quickly into launching this new company where we were able to develop and combine business, design, and technology together. And if you have to think about it at the time, this was quite an inventive approach to bring these three applications together. And my co-partner, Mike Kanazawa, and I knew that these large company firms, consulting firms, were really looking to combine these ingredients together. And we used it sort of to build this innovation platform that we ended up selling to EY in 2014. You know, when we were acquired, we went specifically with EY, and that was because they had this other aspect and dimension to them around their people. And it's something that I kind of a core belief that I believe today too, that this business design and technology is nothing without sort of the people behind it. And so as a result, you know, 9.5 years later, we've been indoctrinating this whole philosophy around business design and technology as part of our core platform for innovation. And it's no coincidence that this core belief now is integrated now with EY-Nottingham Spirk, and you'll see why in that the two co-founders of EY-Nottingham Spirk, which is John Nottingham, John Spirk, were also designers. And so there was such a great thing in common in thinking about how business design and technology comes together. And that's the journey to EY.
Wow, that's an inspiring story, DT. I cannot agree with you more, right? Combining business, design, and technology together, that's exactly the spirit of the hub. I'm still in awe of what I experienced at the hub, as a matter of fact. So before we dive into our conversation, let me share a short video I created to showcase that unforgettable experience.
Think beyond yourself,
Yeah.
right? You're inspired.
And in 2017, Nottingham Spirk was one of the nominees, and they were one of the regional winners of the Entrepreneur of the Year award. And it was interesting when they crossed our radar, it was like, oh, you've been in Cleveland for 50 years, right? And EY was founded in Cleveland back in 1903. It was like, you've been in our backyard the whole time. Like, why have we not, you know, worked together, why have we not heard of you? And really the discussion started in 2017 of, are there interesting areas where we could partner together between what EY does from a manufacturing standpoint and what Nottingham Spirk could do from a product design standpoint. So what started as discussions in 2017 really led to the launch of the Joint Innovation Center here in October of 2020.
Trying to build here is a way to do that using augmented reality, where you can digitize anything you could change around the product, virtualize it, and co-engineer new products with.
What we also have here is an ecosystem of partners. So depending on a client's need, we bring in the right ecosystem partner, be it Microsoft, IBM, SAP, to really help influence what we want to do with the client.
Everybody thinks innovation is all fun and games, it's unstructured, let's do wild stuff. Innovation is structured. We have a structured method for innovation. Vertical innovation. We've actually trademarked that name, we own that name, registered trademark. Vertical innovations, vertically integrated innovation. It's a process. When you follow that process, 100% get IP.
Now it is your turn, DT. Could you provide some examples of how the EY-Nottingham Spirk Innovation Hub has helped companies innovate?
I think after seeing the video, I think it explains it well. When you combine, customer products or consumer products or business products, I mean, there's variations of it being both physical and digital. This sort of creates the opportunities for companies to sort of think about new products and services that they can bring to market, whether it's an existing need or a future need, either within sort of a company's core business or even something completely new. It helps them, create these new opportunities. And I think what's happening is there's this natural curiosity of helping companies define what their core needs are or future opportunities and what they can look like. And so frequently what happens is that a client will come in and they'll have a specific need, but then they walk out with this something much more than they came in with. And maybe a specific example of this is, we have a client in particular that's in the HVAC industry. And we were discussing the opportunities to address this underserved market in the home, very much in their core business. But the question was like, what products within their portfolio should they be using that is both existing, and then maybe what products can we create to kind of serve this unmet need? And what happened is when we were finished with this, is after the first meeting, we ended up with building an entire ecosystem from a simple thermostat that was fully connected to the entire home, to other products that were not even within their core business. And what happened is this spawned a different conversation around, energy management, around home care. There's a whole host of, businesses, new services that can be created as a result of that. And, I can't reveal necessarily what they're doing and where they're going there, but, the point was that they were able to kind of see this, and we were able to demonstrate this in the meeting itself. It was both real time, but it was also an incredible discovery for both sides to kind of think through what is not only what the core problem is, but how can we even build a better solution to the core problem by looking beyond just the problem itself. And so I think that's what happens here, is by combining the opportunity to see things and demonstrate them in real time that are physical and digital, and that creating those experiences is really what makes the difference. I think you said you were in awe of those experiences, Helen. I think that's what you probably experienced yourself, is how we were able to do that.
Absolutely. I echo what you just said, DT. When I walked into the hub, that atmosphere instantly inspired for creative thinking, right? That I really love what you just said about, combining the business design and technology together. And then with the collaboration with the ecosystem partners, and that's how you turn everything into successful product. What really resonated with me the most was that 95% of product successfully reach the market at a hub, while most fail elsewhere. So what really makes the hub unique from other innovation centers?
I think you gave away the prize there. But let me just say, I think what differentiates EY-Nottingham Spirk personally, it's the experience that you sort of walk away with, and that's really what sets it apart. And I guess when you go to a restaurant and you order from the menu, order the same thing from the menu, but your experience is really actually defined by the person that's actually serving it to you. And in some ways, the food tastes better, the quality is better, because you've had an enjoyable experience with the person that you've interacted with. And I believe that's sort of one of the things that people walk away with, is that the people here are not just interested in solving your problem, but really interested in looking at you as a person and thinking through your actual needs. And I guess that, for me, that's personal. I think if you want to start getting into more of the science of it, yes. When you start thinking about what's proven here, and this term of commercialization comes up, and really that's the ultimate test, because at the end of the day, our clients are looking to get their products out there in the market. And what you said is true. They have this reputation of getting anything that they do with a reputation of a 95% success rate. And I don't think anybody can come close to that. That's sort of makes EY-NS or EY-Nottingham Spirk, truly definitively different from anyone else, is the success rate. And it's through this patented, term that they call vertical innovation that you were talking about. This process, sort of, in a sense, without giving away some of the secret sauce, allows sort of the common mistakes or the missteps, the blocks, or the barriers that you have to be overcome, or what John Nottingham refers to as quicksand. And this is sort of this idea of walking through the entire process of going through commercialization, and what it takes to prevent some of those things, because this idea of stopping wherever you are in the process automatically makes you fall into this sort of quicksand and prevents some of these great ideas from being successful. Let's face it, there's hundreds and thousands of patents, and there's lots of great ideas, but none of them are successful because they're not commercialized, but they're great ideas.
Well, speaking of that, there are 14,000 plus patents, right? 95% of that were commercialized. So that's the power of impact EY has made. By the way, I really enjoyed the tour John Nottingham gave it to me personally during my visit. So kudos there. By the way, what have you found the most exciting about working with the hub?
Oh, I thank you for asking that question, because that's probably going to be my most favorite question. And sort of why I'm still here, actually, 10 years later. I'm a trained designer, as I told you, and if you're here, it's like an absolute playground in the business realm. It feels like I'm here having a lot of fun, and it's really, when we're able to see our clients and us work together and solve a business challenge, and have the client walk away with something truly much greater, because we were able to use our creativity, or our ingenuity, or resourcefulness, our agility, anything that we could do in managing all of our relationships together to solve what would be a daunting or impossible problem. Designers, they thrive off their audience loving their art. For them, that's the ultimate reward, is if you buy your art, that's like the ultimate test. And in EY-Nottingham Spirk's case, when consumers or customers flock to something that, we've helped innovate, that's extremely rewarding. And I'm here seeing, this happen every day, is actually seeing some of these things go to market, become really successful. And it reminds me of a colleague of mine talking about the difference between commercialization and realization. And this idea is really that what separates the hub is this realization, not just the commercialization that we're talking about. Because commercializing, yes, you're making money from it, but realizing it and seeing it happen, let's face it, that's the reality. The real difference is actually being able to see tangibly the outcome of it. And what I love most is it feels like we're in this like competition, and I'm so competitive. And it feels like, when we're able to solve these issues and get the client to where we need to and to execute it, it feels like, we've just won this race, and it feels like I just sold a piece of art.
That's awesome. That's profound, as a matter of fact. You mentioned about leveraging the technology and business ecosystem partner to work with clients at a hub. Can you unpack that a little bit, how you do that?
Yeah, I think, a lot of our clients, they've been through workshops, and it seems to be relatively the same when you go to these workshops. But I think one of the differences here is we're actually bringing some of these ecosystem partners or these technology partners actually into the room with us as part of the experience. And so when you're able to sort of bring some of the opportunities and solutions to the table to discuss sort of in real time about how this is going to work, how can we solve a business issue? Because let's face it, like anything we do, no one company could do everything. And so it's this sort of combination of bringing sort of the right relationships and right partners to the table, whether that's like a startup company or a Fortune 500 company. The idea of the breadth that we have and the access that we have to bring that in the meeting, in the session, seeing the demonstrations, that's part of what makes us the partnerships and alliances and things. And by the way, transactions actually happen as a result of the meetings that we have, just by nature of bringing, two companies together.
I echo what you just said. I actually experienced that firsthand, right? Experienced the digital twins and the HoloLens experience while I was there is just fantastic and I was fascinated with the experience that you were able to work with ecosystem partners to build powerful solutions there for your customers. So in your experience working directly with clients at a hub, what are some of the common challenges they face when turning great ideas into everyday business outcomes?
Well, I'll just say, the challenge of the day or of the year 2023, 2024, or maybe the frequent questions that come up often right now, believe it or not, isn't always about Gen AI. More importantly, it seems to be focused around the conversations around connected products, whether they're smart connected products or whether they're smart products or whether they're platforms that aggregate all of these products together. There's something about like, what is that winning combination of what products should be connected, but more importantly, like, how do I monetize the products that I have or the products that I'm creating? What does the opportunity look like when I do this? And sort of that seems to be more of the conversation, because let's face it, here, when you're actually seeing the products in your site and you're touching and feeling it and we're demonstrating it, one comes up with these ideas around what businesses should they be in, what services could they create, and a lot of that is focused around like, how do they make money doing that? It's one thing from a technical perspective of connecting some of these things and integrating and ingesting it into their systems, which is a challenge in and of itself, and it takes years to do. But because it takes years to do, it's like we probably better make sure we know what business we should be in, what products need to be connected. And so a lot of it is very much focused around this.
Mhm. Well, that makes so much sense, right? Especially when you mentioned about realization earlier. So creating a product in itself is just the beginning of the success, and then expanding that to maximize the realization of the benefit of that product is what company truly focusing on. Very aligned with what I've seen in the industry as well. So how does the hub continue to support clients after the modeling or prototyping phase? What assistance is provided to help them successfully deploy the solutions in the real world?
Helen, you hear the term transformation a lot in the business world. I mean, maybe that's sort of last year's terminology even, but it still comes up, and it's because at the hub here, I mean, it's not really about this one and done transaction where, you know, we're just here to do something in prototype, like you said. It's really, you know, I think we talked about this earlier, that the hub is not a destination, it's a capability. And this capability is focused around transformation. How do we help companies transform themselves into sort of these new smart connected businesses? And what that means frequently is that this is not something that you can just do in one moment. You really have to come back and frequently be more part of the sort of the full end-to-end ecosystem cycle, you know, following whoever's our constituents' roadmap looks like. We're there along the way, kind of solving these innovation challenges along the way. So it's not always about the products. It's like once you've connected these products, the next step is like, okay, if this is the business I'm going to be in, what is it going to take to serve the business? What, you know, kind of operating model needs to be there to kind of serve the business or operate the business? And then how do I go to market with this whole new concept? What kind of people do I need to kind of support the concept? It's this whole, in a sense, life cycle of everything that you need combined together. And that sort of, you know, that's where I mean, like, it's not just about this modeling and prototyping that you think you see, because when you come here, you see a lot of that. But what's behind the scenes a lot that we do here is like taking those same principles and philosophy around vertical innovation and applying it into your business, into your operations, into your supply chain, into your outcomes and realization.
That's really profound. And thank you, DT. And what if the companies are interested in engaging with EY-Nottingham Spirk Innovation Hub? How would they get engaged with you?
Well, you could call me, but I think if you look at the end of this podcast, hopefully there's a link there, and it would say something like, there you'll find us, you'll find EY-Nottingham Spirk. Look them up, because there's a whole history of innovation with EY-Nottingham Spirk.
Here comes to my last question. So what's next? What's coming with the hub?
Okay, so that's a big question. I think we said this before when we talked about, it seems like the conversations today are all about Gen AI and, you know, what can we do with it? But really that's already here. And I think many people in the business of AI will say this, is that AI is not the end, it's the means. And so when you think about what that is, it's really, it's an enabler. And what we need to do is actually think of how the different aspects of Gen AI can be used in combination with what we're talking about here, with this underserved area around smart connected products. That to me is what's next, because it takes, you know, a couple years for this realization to happen. And it's now that we have this capability, it's what we do with it and what those outcomes will be that we're going to realize.
Thank you, DT, for sharing your thought leadership on vertical innovation, highlighting EY-Nottingham Spirk Innovation Hub with us today. Here are my key takeaways from our conversation. The EY-Nottingham Spirk Innovation Hub facilitates innovation for companies, offering practical support and solutions to turn great ideas into tangible business outcomes. You talk about the hub is not a destination, it is a capability. And also, once the product is connected, the hub uniqueness lies in its concept of vertical innovation, which sets it apart from other innovation centers, showcasing a holistic approach to driving transformative solutions. Exciting aspects of working with a hub include collaborative efforts, leveraging technology, partnering with various ecosystem players to deliver impactful results for our customers. And beyond the prototyping phase, the hub continues to assist clients, ensuring successful deployment of solutions in the real world, offers accessible pathways for companies to get involved in the innovation ecosystem. I love what you said about, the future, right? Smart connected product. That's really important. Once the product is connected, it's so critical for companies to think about how do you serve the business? How do you go through the life cycle of growing the business? So that's being said, I think I encourage companies, the business to reach out to EY, reach out to DT and people at EY and to continue to innovate. So thank you, EY, for investing in Nottingham Spirk Innovation Hub and building a better working world through innovation. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Stay hungry, stay bold, and stay grateful.